My 2024 bold bet for every NFC team is coming your way today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. I am your host today. Kyle Krabs typically joins me. He's the outstanding host of Locked On Dolphins, but it's just me today as we continue our bold bet series. And of course, Locked On NFL Scouting is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Well, folks, welcome in. This is the fourth part of the series this week where Kyle Krabs on Monday and Tuesday gave you his AFC and NFC bold bets for 2024. Yesterday, I gave you my AFC bold bets. Today, my NFC bold bets. And tomorrow, Kyle and I will be joined once again, and we will look through each other's bold bets and figure out which ones we want to take each other up on. So these are bold bets, but they also have to be believable enough that you will take the other guy up on the bet. And so we did this last year. It was really fun. And I took some heat, and like I said yesterday, rightfully so, that my bets weren't very bold. So I tried to kick it up a notch this year. Hopefully I did that. And so today I'm giving you my NFC bold bets. Kyle and I like to use this week where we're both at training camp. I'm in Rochester at Bills training camp. Kyle is in Miami at Dolphins training camp. So with our schedules being very different, it's a good week for us to kind of do a couple of solo episodes and then get together for one before everything resumes to normal next week. So let's do it. Let's do the NFC bold bets. We'll start with the North, then we'll go to the East and the South and the West to close things out. Start with the Detroit Lions here in the NFC North. I'm a big believer in this Lions run defense. And like I said yesterday, one of my goals in providing you the bold bets is, of course, to give you something bold, but also lean into something that I think is a compelling component of that team for the coming season. And so for the Lions, one of the things that really fascinates me is their defense, and their run defense was really good last year. And nobody really ran the ball successfully on Detroit outside of quarterbacks that had some mobility. They kind of ate them up a little bit, but nobody really ran the ball on the Lions. And they took that defense from last year and they upgraded the personnel. But I think the one that really screams to me is DJ Reader. I mean, DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil as your interior defensive lineman. Like, nobody's running the ball on that. And so I have the Lions down for allowing 3.5 yards per carry or lower on defense when it comes to stopping the run in 2024. Next up is the Green Bay Packers, and I'm going to predict something about Jordan Love, and it's a pretty favorable prediction for Jordan Love, but I know Packers fans are just in love with Love. I mean, in really big ways. And so hopefully this prediction is bold enough, but I have Jordan Love becoming just the second quarterback in Packers history to throw 40 touchdowns in a season. So Aaron Rodgers did it a couple of times. Brett Favre never did it. Jordan Love joins Aaron Rodgers as the only quarterbacks in the history of the team to throw 40 or more touchdown passes in a single season. And this obviously leans into Jordan Love and the outstanding season he had last year. You would like to think that in his first season as a starter, that everything, like, as he moves into his prime, is going to be just better and better. A lot of continuity with the coaching and the personnel, a lot of young players, right? Very young roster. They're now a little older, more time on task together. Jordan Love's going to light it up. Put me down for 40 or more touchdown passes. Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams, number one pick. And so much is made of what's at his disposal, right? Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift, and a pretty good young offensive line. I know passing production hasn't been a thing for the Chicago Bears literally ever. As a rookie, this is my bold bet. My bold bet is that Caleb Williams, as a rookie, tops 3,500 passing yards. Now, keep in mind, maybe you're thinking, Joe, well, that's not very impressive. Only 2 quarterbacks in the history of the Chicago Bears have ever topped 3,500 passing yards in a season. Jay Cutler and the guy who has the most passing yards in a season, Eric Kramer. I think Caleb Williams joins the club, becomes the 3rd quarterback in the history of the team to pass for 3,500 yards or more. Then we have the Minnesota Vikings. And the player that I find myself just really interested in for Minnesota is Aaron Jones. I just feel like he's going to be a big part of this. And I remember watching Green Bay in the playoffs last year and thinking, man, they're going to ride Aaron Jones to the Super Bowl, aren't they? And then, of course, they weren't able to get past San Francisco. But I think he's going to have a big year. I think he's hungry. I think he's a little pissed off, to be honest with you, about how things ended in Green Bay, especially when they gave big money to Josh Jacobs. I think Aaron Jones is going to be on a mission. He goes to Minnesota, good offensive line, good passing infrastructure. Obviously, we'll see what happens with Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy. But my bold bet is 1,500 yards from scrimmage for Aaron Jones in 2024. I think he's in for a big season as the lead ball carrier for the Minnesota Vikings. So that is the NFC North, the East and the South coming up on the other side of it. Be sure to stick with me. Folks, the NFL season is here, and there are so many big-time matchups. I'm sure you want to go attend some of these games. Well, if you do, then you got to download the Game Time app. Game Time is the fast and easy way to purchase tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. I love the app. Easy to navigate. They give you last-minute ticket specials. They give you flash deals. They give you a seat view so you know exactly what to expect when you get to the venue. And my favorite thing is the all-in prices. You can choose to look at the prices as all-in, and there's no way you'll get hit with any surprises at the end of the process, right? There's no processing fees, nothing coming. The all-in price from the outside, plus their best price guarantee. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, folks, keeping things moving here with the NFC. We're going to go to the NFC East, and I'm sure I'll get some tomatoes thrown at me here, but I have the Dallas Cowboys up first. And Dallas is coming off of, is it 3 13-win seasons in a row or something crazy like that? Put me down for the Dallas Cowboys having 9 wins or less this coming season. I think Dallas is going to be a good team. I don't think they're going to be a great team. I just feel like they had a disaster of an offseason. Injuries are already starting to come there. You feel like there's a lot of pressure on Mike McCarthy. I don't love that idea. I mean, there should be pressure on Mike McCarthy, but am I going to believe in Mike McCarthy to be the coach that comes out and meets expectations or exceeds them? I don't know. I don't feel good about that. I just feel like this offensive line has a lot of question marks. I think there's questions with their running backs. I think there's questions with their defense and the transition to Mike Zimmer, and can they stop the run, and Diggs coming back off injury. There's questions about this team. And it's hard to look at their offseason and feel like this team got better at all. I think it's a down year for Dallas. 9 wins or fewer for Dallas in 2024. Next up is the New York Giants. Tough team to really forecast. I don't think much of this roster. I think it's one of the worst rosters in the NFL. And I quite honestly, I'm surprised that Joe Shane, Brian Dable, they've had 3 off seasons now, and this is where their roster's at. You'd like to see a little bit more, especially given the draft capital they've had. But they made the choice to commit to Daniel Jones, and I feel like Joe Shane and Brian Dable are going to go out by trusting Daniel Jones, right? Daniel Jones coming off of an ACL tear, like that's where you're going to put your do or die season in that. Wouldn't be me. My bold bet for the New York Giants, Devin Singletary has his first 1,000-yard rushing season. Now, Devin Singletary's been a very dependable running back. He's had 1,000 yards from scrimmage, but he's never had 1,000 rushing yards. In fact, he's never had 900 rushing yards in a season. I think he tops 1,000. Part of this is rooted in my belief in Devin Singletary. The Giants have made some efforts to improve their offensive line. And so I think there's just not a lot of depth. I mean, Tyrone Tracy is very much a question mark. Eric Gray, I don't know. I think he's going to get a lot of carries. I think he tops 1,000 rushing yards for the first time in his career. Again, never had more than 900 in 5 seasons as a lead NFL running back for good offenses in Buffalo and Houston. Next up is the Philadelphia Eagles. Philly's a team I have high expectations for. I think they win this division. That's not my bold bet. I think that their coordinator upgrades on offense and defense with Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio is huge. I mean, we talk about like Atlanta going from Desmond Ridder to Kirk Cousins. We talk about some of those upgrades like that, different other situations across the NFL. To me, the coordinator upgrade in Philly is a huge storyline this year. I think they're going to be a great team in the NFC. And the thing about Philly is they've added a lot of young talent through the draft that I really, really like. This past year, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. The year before, it was Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. I wanted to do something with Nolan Smith that I just don't know yet. I mean, I want to see it a little bit more. Jalen Carter, I'm expecting a big year. I have 10 sacks for Jalen Carter in 2024. Keeping in mind, he's a second-year defensive tackle, and only 3 NFL defensive tackles top 10 sacks last year. So this would put him in pretty exclusive company. 10 sacks for Jalen Carter this coming season. Next up is the Washington Commanders. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something with Jayden Daniels, who I think will be their starting quarterback for, if not all, the vast majority of their games. But I have a little bit of a protection in here. I'm going to predict that Jayden Daniels paces for 1,000 rushing yards in games that he starts. So I don't know if he's going to get injured or if Marcus Mariota is going to get time or what. But Jayden Daniels is going to play. And for however many rushing yards he has in the games that he starts, my prediction is that across a 17-game pace, that will equal 1,000 yards or more. I think this guy's going to run the ball a ton. I mean, that's kind of been the book on Jayden Daniels, is that he scrambles to run and not to throw. And I think he's going to lean into that. I think he's got a curve ahead of him for figuring out what he can and cannot get away with. He's going to lean into his legs like he always has, and he's going to run the ball a ton. So he paces for 1,000 rushing yards in games that he starts across 17 games. Moving on to the NFC South, Atlanta Falcons. Got something here about Drake London. I think Drake London is the first Falcons wide receiver in their history, not named Julio Jones, to top 1,400 receiving yards. And Drake London, this is his 3rd season. He didn't have 1,000 yards in either of his first 2. And that's not his fault, right? I think Drake London's been really good. His quarterback play and his offensive coordinator been really crappy. But I think Kirk Cousins is going to throw the ball to him a ton. I think 1,400 yards are coming for Drake London. A ton of volume. I think he's going to produce. He's never had quarterback play close to what he's getting in Kirk Cousins. I'm very excited about Zach Robinson and this offense. Drake London, 1,400 yards, first and only receiver not named Julio Jones for the Atlanta Falcons to do that. The Carolina Panthers, they were really tough. I don't know. I have no idea what to expect from this offense. I certainly like the upgrades at receiver and on the offensive line and Dave Canales, but Bryce Young, I have no idea what to expect. So I had to do something defensive. And as I kind of just kept working through the defense, the thing that kept coming back to me is their coordinator, Ejiro Evero. I think very highly of him. And my prediction here is that Ejiro Evero is hired to be somebody's head coach after this season. I think he gets a job. And we've seen, a lot of the coaches in this cycle, this past year, were defensive minded. So I know that fans have this narrative about offensive minded coaches. The NFL is still hiring defensive minded people to be head coaches. I think Ejiro Evero is one of them in the next cycle. All right, so we got the Saints, we've got the Bucs, we've got the NFC West. We'll do all of that here on the other side of it, folks. Be sure to stick with me. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime that I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. So head on over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, two more NFC South teams and then the NFC West. Next up is the New Orleans Saints. The player that I love and fascinates me about the New Orleans Saints is Rashid Shaheed. So I had to do something with him. And I'm concerned about this offense. I really am. Derek Carr, I don't think much of him. They gutted their entire offensive coaching staff, offensive line questions. But I really like Rashid Shaheed. Put me down for 1,000 yards from scrimmage for Rashid Shaheed. Young player. Dude's a baller. Like anytime I watch the Saints, this guy's making impact plays. I think it's his third season. I think he is going to produce big time. 1,000 yards from scrimmage for Rashid Shaheed. Next up is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a tough team for me. Offense, obviously, a little bit of transition with the coaching there. Questions on that offensive line. But my big questions come on defense for Tampa Bay. Now, I have a lot of belief in Todd Bowles, but so many of the players they're relying on just don't have much. They just don't have much of a resume to point to at linebacker, at corner, off the edge. Plenty of questions here. So my prediction for the Bucs is that they have a bottom half of the NFL scoring defense for the first time since Todd Bowles' first season in 2019. I think they finish in the bottom half of the league in scoring defense for the first time since Todd Bowles' first season in 2019. Too many questions about their pass rush, too many questions at who's going to start at the other corner spot. Who's KJ Britt really ready to be the running mate for Levante David, even though I think nothing of Devin White. They're better because he's not on the team, but like how good's KJ Britt? We got so much to learn here. I think it's going to take some time. I think they're going to give up some points. Now, what's going to help them is their division. I mean, they get the Saints twice. They get the Panthers twice. That's going to be really helpful. And that gives me some pause. And again, I do think Todd Bowles is a good defensive mind, but I think he's got an uphill climb this year. NFC West to close things out. Arizona Cardinals up first. I have a bold bet on the Arizona Cardinals. I believe that they lead the NFL in rushing yards this season. I think it's a very underrated thing with Arizona is their ability to run the ball. They ran the ball extremely well last year, and that was in year one of the new offense. And Kyler Murray missed a ton of time. And it wasn't like they just got a bunch of rushing yards because of Kyler Murray. Now, Kyler Murray's going to help, and that's a big part of why I think they will lead the league in rushing. But I think they've made some offensive line upgrades. And, of course, the addition of Trey Benson to this backfield to go with James Conner and a healthy Kyler Murray. Size at receiver. I think they're going to run the ball well. I think they're going to lead the league in rushing, Arizona. Next up is the Los Angeles Rams. This is another team that I'm really just in on their ability to run the ball. Kyron Williams, Blake Corum. They added to this offensive line with Jonah Jackson. Their left tackle, Alaric Jackson, he's got a year under his belt now. Steve Avila is a young stud. Dotson's a stud. Havenstein's a stud. I think this team's going to be able to run the ball really, really well. And so Stafford and Nakua and Kupp and all of that's exciting. They're going to pound the rock. Top 5 rushing offense in terms of total yards in 2024. Two more teams left, the 49ers and the Seahawks. We'll go to the 49ers, another team that I'm concerned about their defense. Not concerned enough for me to say that I don't think they're going to win the NFC. I think they're absolutely, one of the favorites, probably the favorite. It's probably them, Philly. You'll see what the Rams can do. I'm concerned about their defense, but the Rams, Philly, Green Bay, Detroit. That's kind of the class of the NFC, in my opinion. But the Niners, I think they're going to be good. I'm just concerned about their defense. New coordinator. I think their defensive line talent might be a little bit less than it's been in recent years. Of course, they got good linebacker depth, but Greenlaw's working back from that. Hufanga's coming back. The other corner spot's interesting. Is it Yadam and Green kind of competing there? I think the offenses are good in this division, which is something to be mindful of. And so here's what I'm getting to. My prediction for the 49ers is that for the first time in 5 years that they are not top 10 in total defense. I think they're outside of the top 10. This has been the 49ers have been a very, very good defense year over year over year. I think this is potentially their least talented group. High bar. I think they'll be close to the top 10. This is not like a bottom half of the league. I think they'll be in the top half of the league, but not top 10. Last one for you, Seattle Seahawks. My prediction here is that Jackson Smith and Jigba in year 2, despite the presence of DK Metcalf, despite the presence of Tyler Lockett, despite the presence of Noah Fant, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba leads the team in receptions. I think that his route running will help Geno Smith stay on schedule. I think there's going to be some verticality to this offense, but I think there's going to be a lot of volume funneled through JSN, so put me down for him to lead the team in receptions. So there you have it, folks. My bold bets have now been delivered to you from the AFC and the NFC. I don't know what Kyle's are, so I'm excited to learn what they are, and I'm excited to debate them tomorrow with Kyle on this podcast. So come on back and don't miss it. Would love it if you took a second to rate, review, share, and subscribe. Have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to catching up with you again tomorrow.